Good morning and welcome everyone to A Moment of Hope with Upward Transitions. We are very excited today to have a special guest, Beth Burke, and she is the Community Resource Director for Heartline, which some people may know as 211. Let's bring Beth on here and welcome her to our broadcast. Hi, Beth. How are you today?
Hi, Carla. Thank you for having me today.
Yeah, we're so excited to have you and to learn more about Heartline and all the different functions and programs that are processed through our county and our state and our city through Heartline. So we're really excited to learn more about you.
That's great.
So tell us a little bit about Heartline, its founding, and how long it has served Oklahomans.
Well, we're really excited to be celebrating our 50th year this year.
Oh.
We started in 1971 as a collaborative between some church groups and the mental health community.
Oh.
So we actually started as Contact. For those of you who are really old, you may remember it. And it was really thought of as a place for people to be able to talk anonymously for mental health issues. So things that if they just need to talk some problem out, they could call Contact. And it was all volunteer run. And so then in the early 2000s, we started answering 211, and we became a functioning staff with a CEO and all of that, and actually paid call specialists that answer the calls. And we still have volunteers to answer calls as well, but the majority of the staff are paid by far.
Okay. All right. Well, that's that. And I don't recall Contact, but I believe that would be a very needed assistance for our community. And was that operating in just a particular area, or was that across the state, or?
You know, back then, I think it was probably pretty much just the metro.
Okay.
But now we cover the 40 counties, basically Stillwater West. But we are partnered with the 211 in Tulsa. So we're able to provide services for the entire state.
Okay, that's terrific. So when did you join with 211 to provide those services through Tulsa? How long has 211 been implemented?
You know, I don't know the exact date, but it's been at least 20 years that we've been doing that. So we answer the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline as well as 211, and also Youth Crisis Mobile Response, and both of those are statewide.
Yeah. Okay. So when they want to call the youth hotline, does everything go through 211, or do they dial a different number? So 211 will take you.
There are different numbers, but you can call 211 and reach anything we do. So we consider it a no wrong door situation. Yes. So you can call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline in Oklahoma, and you will reach our office. And if while on that lifeline call, you need help finding a food pantry or help with rent or utility assistance, that's no problem. All of our call specialists are trained to handle that.
That's great. And so tell me again how many staff you have? I mean,
we have, with COVID, we have really increased our staff in the last year and a half. Mm-hmm. And so we are just over 40 now.
Okay. All right. And when calls come in through 211, do you track those calls by county? Are they? Okay.
We do. We track by zip code and by county.
Okay.
And so when somebody calls, our call specialists are going to ask, one of the first questions they'll ask is what zip code they're in if they're calling 211. And the reason we do that is because we want to make referrals to them that are the closest they can be. So somebody who is having food insecurities, we don't want to send them to a food pantry where they're having to drive 10 miles when there was one just a mile away.
Mm-hmm. Right. So what appears to be the biggest needs in Oklahoma County for those who call Heartline through 211?
In the last fiscal year, which was July 1 through June 30th, 21, the top 5 are food, housing, utilities, and healthcare, and mental health and addiction. There were 22,453 referrals for food in the last year, 16,000 for housing, 15,000 for utility assistance, 14,000 for healthcare, and 10,000 for mental health and addiction.
Wow. That is
So,
a lot. So in comparison before COVID hit, what kind of an increase is that? Do you know approximately? I mean,
well, looking at all of our 40 counties, the difference is food. In fiscal year 21, we gave out 48,000 referrals. In 20, we gave out 59,000. And you may remember right there in March and April and May of 2020, there was a huge demand for food, and people had just lost their jobs, and there was a lot of demand. And in comparison to a non-COVID year, that we gave out 30,000. So
it almost doubled.
yes,
Almost
yeah.
doubled. Yeah, here at Upward Transitions, we noticed, of course, there was a huge spike in
Right.
needs for the same reason. People lost their jobs, and so they needed help with rent and utilities. So, so tell a little bit how Heartline and Upward Transitions work together to assist the clients we both serve, because I always talk about how fortunate we are here in Oklahoma City to have such a collaborative network of nonprofit agencies that complement each other. Like we work together and we refer back and forth to one another based upon the unique and individual needs of the person that we're serving or the client that we're serving. So in essence, it offers kind of a wraparound of services to help the clients that are the most vulnerable in our community. So can you tell us a little bit how maybe we interact, just to share?
Well, so 211 is kind of a first step. So a lot of people who may never have been in a situation where they need to get help from someone can call 211, and because they may not know about Upward Transitions, right? So our call specialist will give them the referral to Upward and explain to them not only what hours they need to call, but the eligibility requirements, any documents they need to take when they go to their visit to Upward Transitions as well. And the staff at Upward work really closely with us to make sure we always have the most accurate information. So then the person goes to Upward and say they need transportation, and Upward can only provide a certain amount. Then Perry Ann or someone will call me, and we will find another resource through our database that can also chip in some money and help.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and that's one of our focus areas is transportation for stranded travelers and those who are victims of domestic abuse and human trafficking. So, so basically, Heartline is dealing with all the needs that are actually represented in our community. So, so when someone refers to one, how many different agencies work together can you think of with a client? Like, what is the most you think?
You know, rarely do we see a client that just has one need. So if they are having food insecurities, they're probably also having problems paying their rent or getting to a job or getting a job or all sorts of other issues that may be going on, especially healthcare related. A lot of people surprisingly do not have the money to get their prescriptions filled. So they know they need that blood pressure medicine, but they don't have the ability to fill it. So when somebody comes to 211, normally they are calling because they've got a most urgent need, right? So something has triggered that need to call us. So we talk to them about that first need, and then we always ask, is there anything else I can help with? And we train our call specialists to listen to what's not being said. So do they hear a baby crying in the background, or is there someone angry in the background or yelling, or have they mentioned in the process that they need that food because their mother just moved in and they didn't have enough money to pay for another mouth, that type thing. And so our call specialists are trained to then take that information and say, I hear a baby. Do you need diapers as well, or formula? Or you said your mother just moved in with you. Is she elderly? Is there, does she have health problems? Things like that. So we try to find out what all's going on in our callers' lives right then that we could help. We then provide referrals to all those situations that they are needing help with. And we are involved in a lot of VOADs and different committee groups where people working at like the Homeless Alliance or different agencies will think to call us for resources or information before they talk to the client.
Yeah.
So we also are very fortunate in Oklahoma City that there's really not a big ego with the different agencies. People will say, we can kick in $500 on this, but we can't cover the whole bill. And somebody will also say, well, I can put in 150, and so we really try to work together and make the most of our budgets to make them stretch as long as possible.
Right. And that actually, I think that's something that's unique to Oklahoma City and very proud of, is the fact of how well our nonprofits work together and try to come together for the common goal of meeting the need of the client, whatever those needs are. So very happy. So do you in closing today, our time's almost up, do you have a client story or something you'd like to share that has?
Gosh, right now we are answering the COVID line for the state. So we are really finding the impact of COVID surprising in all aspects of the type calls we take. Everything from the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline calls down to basic 211. It is surprising the impact COVID has had on all aspects of people's lives. We've, people who are ending up, they just need somebody to talk to in an anonymous way about the fear of sending their kids back to school and not having that ability to control who is around their child. The fear of going back to work. A lot of us have worked from home for a long time, and going into that social structure again is a little bit daunting for a lot of people. So there is lots of help out there, and please call 211 if you have questions about anything going on, and we can find some information for you or get you some resources to who can.
That's right. And we are so thankful for Heartline and the work that you do in our community. And we love working with you and are appreciative of this directory of services that you provide for our state. And again, I just would like to say thank you, Beth, for being here with us today and sharing some information about that. So we do encourage anyone who needs help to just call 211 and they will get you to the right place. And so thanks again, Beth. Let's tell everybody so long, and we will see everyone again next week. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.